Welcome to Marketing Mondays. I'm your co-host, Amanda Fazzolani, co-founder of Design for Agents. And in just a moment, we're going to be joined by our other co-host and co-founder, Alexander Fazzolani, who's not only my business partner, but also my husband. Every Monday, we go over marketing, production, and advertising strategies to help you in your real estate business. So let's go ahead and bring Alex on. Hey.
What's going on, everybody?
Let's switch us up here. There we go. So let's dive right into it. Right, we had a great list of different things that we covered in today's Marketing Monday. If you got the email, awesome. If you haven't, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go sign up for it. The link is in the description of this video wherever it is you're watching, and if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, definitely click it in the description there below.
Yeah, and it's $3.99, guys. I don't know what you're waiting for. It's free. So obviously we do some giveaways, and to this actual week we have a special guest feature with some great content. Amanda, you want to break down some of the content pieces that we went over?
Yes. So today's email was actually for the what's working. Why isn't my real estate website converting? So if you are a real estate agent or broker and you have your own real estate website and you're wondering why leads aren't converting on that website, we covered the gamut of what to do and how to avoid simple mistakes that agents and brokers tend to make that leads to this issue.
Yeah, a lot of people focus on the what's not important. So obviously they make this whole website and it's just a bunch of categories that, they're hoping it's like a catalog that will sell them. But in reality, that's not how it works. And we actually break down how you can take your website and actually make it a converting tool for you.
Yes, exactly. And we have a full video training on that as well that Alex shot. So we'll be sharing that in the link in the description below as well. Now, for this week's Ask Me About Marketing, we actually had a question from JT who asks, I just closed my first 3 deals and want to start marketing myself more. Any advice on where or how to get started? So we broke down exactly how to do that in today's email. It's also featured as an article on the website designforagents.com. And we all started there. And I think it's awesome that he waited until he closed his first 3 deals, which means he's going to be able to take some of that income and put it towards his marketing budget. So we also broke down how to break down your marketing budget, like what percentage of your commission should actually go towards your marketing.
Yeah, for sure. And also we got a special guest who's actually going to be bringing us some great content in regards to working with investors, right? So should I introduce our guest for today? That's actually
definitely
live to actually educate us further. So this guy is one of the top leading real estate investors out on Long Island. He has flipped hundreds and hundreds of homes. Not only is he a great investor, but he's amazing when it comes to branding and marketing. And when I first met this guy, I could not stop laughing. This dude is one of the most hilarious guys, and he's one of the most driven people I know. So I want to welcome Charles Weinraub, the handsome homebuyer. What's going on, man? Welcome.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Good to be back with you guys. I missed you.
I know it's been a while, right? So I remember when we first met, we actually met on your podcast.
Yeah.
How long ago was that? I was like, what?
I was probably like 3 to 4 years ago. Probably 3 to 4 years ago. I remember seeing what you guys are doing on social media, and I love these two. They just they love each other. I love it. I gotta have them on the podcast.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a really good opportunity. I've seen so much growth from both sides of us since those 4 years. I remember you came and educated a bunch of agents when we were out in Forest Hills, and now we're in North Carolina, e-commerce. You're printing 3D homes.
Yeah,
it's freaking insane.
Yeah, man, a lot has happened. It's really crazy. It's time moves really fast, but people like us, we're so busy doing so many things that I feel like we really, wring every last bit out of life. So it's exciting to see everything that's gone on in the last couple of years.
Yeah, man. And I know that social media has been a pretty big, mover for you. I know you started with the podcast, but what kind of got you into social media marketing, and what kind of made you double down on that?
So it was a little bit of a process. So I was on somebody's podcast. I wasn't a big social media person. As a matter of fact, I don't really like social media from a personal standpoint, but from a business and branding standpoint, it's undeniable, what it can do for your business. So somebody had me on their podcast, and I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. I'm going to have my own podcast. And I started doing my own podcast. And it was just like real bootleg. Like this is when like nobody locally was doing podcasts. Now everybody has a podcast locally. So I was in my basement. I had like a free program. I had like a $99 mic, and we would put it on YouTube with just like a picture of my logo. Like it was real, like, grassroots.
Yeah.
And it really, really, really started working. And then I started working with Matt, our visual, and I would, who's a content creator, and I would say, come in for 1 day a week, and we would work for 4 hours, and we would put together like a vlog and a podcast. And I invested in him, and I saw it starting to work even more. And then I hired my own full-time camera person, Levy, and then I started working even more. And then now I have a 5-person marketing team.
That's awesome.
So I have Emily, who's the director, who's amazing. I have Levy, still the camera person. I have 2 junior editors, and now I just hired a full-time SEO person who does SEO for us full time. Yeah. So I mean, it really, really, really makes a difference. It's a game changer. Like as we're sitting here, I'm getting DMs from people I don't know with overpriced housing opportunities, but they're presenting opportunities to me nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the opportunities just have to be there. Right. That's all you want. Yeah. Right. Some of them are going to work. Some of them aren't. But all that matters is that they think of you first. Right.
Exactly. All this does is get the phone to ring, and then it's my job to get it to convert. But if the phone rings enough, you're going to get enough conversions.
Yeah. And by the way, I saw that you started getting into commercials, and they're hilarious. Like I saw some of them. The one that was like the Valentine's Day one was I was dying.
Oh, yeah. My mother didn't talk to me for 2 weeks over that, man. She's just
man.
She's just like, what are you doing? Like, you're a professional, shirtless, laying in a pool of garbage, making love to a 2x4. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, guys, if you haven't seen that already, go check his Instagram out. He has a video of it, but it was hilarious. And where do you come up with like all these concepts, or do you guys brainstorm as a team to kind of come up with these concepts?
So I used to come up with everything pretty much on my own. Now I have the team, and they do a lot of stuff. Like, I can't take any credit for the Valentine's Day thing. They basically said, come in the back, take your shirt off, lay in this garbage, and say this. So, but it took me a long time to get there. Like, I've put out thousands and thousands of videos that I had to, come up with the content myself. So I think a lot of people really get hung up on what they're going to say, what they're going to talk about. Do people think they're interesting? And my advice to them is to just start talking.
For sure. And one thing that I really love about your content is that you really follow like the KISS method, right? You keep it simple, and you just put out really good, thoughtful, educational pieces. So you have like a great balance of like education and then like value driven. Did you ever have like a specific strategy that you wanted to follow? Like, I'm going to put out one piece of educational content, one piece of something that is entertaining, right? Like, what you have like a strategy in that, you just kind of just throw whatever you like out there.
Now we do. Now we play with it. Like, now I have the resources and the staff to basically play with this to the point where we're like trying to, curate content specifically to different platforms. But it's a lot of work. Like, we probably shoot like 8 hours of content a week, and then I have 3 people editing for the remainder of that time, and Emily scheduling and researching trends and doing all that kind of stuff. And there's so many different platforms. Like, we're posting at least 3 times a day across all the major platforms, like Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, all these, it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously they all have like their own little things. So like with Instagram, you have Reels. So do you like multi-purpose, like do you create like Reels outside of the Reel platform, or you just shoot it in the Reel platform? Or
so we shoot them as videos separate, and then we'll put them into TikTok and Instagram as Reels separately. Because if you do it in TikTok and it has the branding from TikTok, then you have an issue on Instagram. Instagram won't put it in the feed because it has the TikTok logo.
Mm-hmm.
So the apps really want you to create within the app. You can create outside the app and bring it in, but you don't want to create in one app and move it over to the other.
For sure. And one thing that I also noticed is that you're really, like, you guys have been doing really solid on YouTube. I really love like the episodes that you're putting out there. So obviously your team kind of puts all that together, right? So they kind of shoot it. Are you still working with Matt Visual on those, or do you have like a whole nother team?
No, I have full-time in-house people now.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So yeah, I have Levy, I have the 2 junior editors, I have the SEO guy, and I have Emily. So we have 5 people back there just pumping out content all day long.
Amazing. That's amazing. So for realtors out there, do you have any like advice on kind of multi-purposing their content? Like, do you like take a long form content, like just go in front of the camera and just educate and then chop that up, or do you kind of just like have like right now I'm shooting a bunch of reels, right now I'm shooting a bunch of, like I'm saying, like,
Well, we do all that stuff. So like, again, like I'm at a different level than 99% of people in the sense that like I've built out a team that can help me do this stuff. So it really all depends on, you know, how much money you have, how much time you have, what kind of opportunity you have, right? If you have a team of people that can do this stuff for you, it helps. But the easiest and most efficient way to do this kind of stuff is to take a long form video setup and then repurpose it. So if you have long form video, if you have an hour long speech or whatever, if you're presenting somewhere, whatever, or this podcast, for example, this goes out on YouTube as a standalone. Then you're going to put it on anchor.fm as an audio. There's 2 pieces of content. Then you could chop this thing up into 5 to 20 pieces of 15 to 60 second pieces of content and put those on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and all that. So, you know, that's the most efficient way to do it. But you could do all of it.
Yeah, for sure. Because like we've kind of been doing the educational route where we just do a specific educational video and it's just geared for that. And then we'll have like different thumbnails and things promoting it, kind of pushing it towards YouTube and things of that nature. So, I mean, thank you for that information for sure. Another thing that I wanted to kind of, it's a little off topic of the advertising and branding spot, but I know that you work with a lot of realtors. Like you said, your DMs are always blowing up with opportunities. When you first started your strategy, did you have that goal in mind? Was it like, I want to be known among all the realtors in Long Island, or like did you have that strategy, or you just wanted to like put out information?
Yeah. So no, like I built the big business based off of relationships, right? So when you get into this, when people get into business, like you don't really have any money, right? So if you don't have money, what do you have? You have time. So there are people that, you know, send mailers and have call centers and like do all kinds of shit, but you need a lot of money to do that. If you don't, you have time and you can go build relationships. So my whole thought process was, I'm going to go out and meet as many people as possible that can bring me deals essentially for free. Mm-hmm. And the more people I know, obviously realtors get paid when they bring me deals and then they get the relist, but I'm not paying them. It's not like I'm building a call center and paying people to sit there and cold call and try to bring in deals. So my thought processes was, I'll go out there, build this massive network of people. I will nurture those relationships by doing, you know, nice things for them and taking care of them. And then it's like an insurance residual or like an annuity that just keeps paying off year over year over year, because these people like and trust me and we do business together. And anytime they see a house that stinks like cat pee, they think of me.
Yeah, man, that's actually one of the funniest catchphrases. I think you say that in almost every video, right?
Yeah, that's like my shtick. I have commercials running around screaming cat pee. Like, you know, anybody at this point on Long Island, I'm like a triple Z rated, like News 12 celebrity. So people be like, oh, the cat pee guy. Like, people stop me on the street to take pictures with me and shit. It's very weird. Yeah,
and I also noticed that you got a was it like a mama van, like got wrapped or something?
Yeah. I always I had a little smart car that was wrapped years ago, and I love that thing. And then I was getting a little bit too much personal attention, so I'm like, all right, I don't need people to be like knocking on my window. But now one of the cars that we have that the staff drives around in is a big handsome Homebuyer truck. So people like take pictures of it, send it to me, citing. So it really works.
That's awesome. So yeah, in regards to realtors working with investors, I kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit. So obviously your social media presence is large, but another thing that I feel like agents kind of struggle with is actually approaching investors and developing that relationship back. Because obviously as an investor, you're taking care of agents, right? But how can agents kind of take care of the investor, right? Yeah, I just wanted to learn that a little bit. Like, how can we create better relationships between agents and investors? Because I know you're doing a great job with it. I know that a lot of the newer agents kind of are a little nervous about that. You know, like I'm not skilled enough to kind of approach an investor. What are they looking for? So on and so forth.
No, I get it. So let's talk really, broadly and then drill down. So I think that it depends on what you're looking to do. So I'm going to be contributing content weekly to the Broke Agent Network, BAM. So Broke Agent Media. has their website up, and I'm going to be the investor content creator. And I'm going to be talking specifically to realtors on, different things with investing, how to find your first flip if that's what you want to do, how to qualify investors, how to better work with investors, what every investor is looking for in a top listing agent. So let's just talk in general. I think everybody needs to have like a good mixed book of business. So I don't think there's a lot of agents that are like, oh, I just want to work with you, Charles. Like, I'll find you houses, you'll sell them, they'll be beautiful, and like we'll just do repeat business together. And that's all well and good, but that's not reality, unfortunately. Right. So I want agents to understand how the investment game works and investors to understand how the game works with realtors. I'm blessed to know hundreds, if not thousands of realtors, which I have to, who bring me business, because your average realtor who's doing 25, 30 houses a year maybe only gets 1 or 2 houses a year that, smell like cat pee or destroyed. Yeah. So you can't just work with one realtor because they don't have enough inventory for you. On the flip side of that also, you can't have like one agent that goes out and makes offers on other agents, distressed property, because agents have relationships with investors and they're going to turn around. Like if I have a relationship with an investor, they're going to, with a realtor, and it's on the open market, he or she's going to say, yo, Charles, I have a 470. I need you to be 470 and the house is yours, because they know I'm going to close. They want to relist the property again once I renovate it. So that's what's going to happen. So as an investor, you can't just work with one realtor. You're not going to get any deals. And as a realtor, you can't just think you're going to be working with investors. First of all, a lot of investors, like if an investor calls you up and wants you to run them around, showing them properties to make offers on, you're really, really wasting a lot of your time for the reason that I mentioned before. Like these things are more like inside relationship based type of deals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, one thing that I always recommend for people who want to build their database full of, investors is obviously go to an investing event, meet these people, because one deal that might not be good for Charles might be good for somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? So it's good to have multiple options, just like you have multiple agents in your database for specific things, right?
Yeah. And every agent wants to have a few investors, because when that nasty house falls in your lap, you want to be able to say, oh, I have somebody for that. And you could do that piece of business. But, in general, I have an article coming out on what every investor is looking for in a top realtor. So there's 4 major points that I list. And this is stuff that'll help realtors in their regular business as well as in, working with investors. So first and foremost was the ability to negotiate well. This is very, very important. Like, my father, loved him to death, had to give credit where credit is due. He is a 70-year-old Jewish man from Brooklyn who has somewhat of he just got back from vacation, so he's very happy. But prior to that, he has like a grumpy streak to him. So he'll do stuff to agents like block their numbers, like hang up on them, yell at everybody. And like one of the biggest thing he does is we list a property, first call that comes in. Hey, yeah, it's available, but we're already over ask. Like my father has the ability to get the most amount of money from buyers through his like guerrilla negotiating tactics. So I'm not encouraging agents to block other agents or hang up on them or yell, but I am encouraging agents to really develop your negotiating skills, because not all agents are created equal. And a good agent who can negotiate well can pay for their commission and then some by really encouraging people to bid the price up.
For sure. And I think one other good person to kind of follow in regards to negotiation, if you want to learn a little more, is Chris Voss. I really love his books. He has a lot of great information and tools when it comes to negotiating, for sure.
So the second point that I go over is, market knowledge. So market knowledge, extremely important, especially like as an investor, I got into it and I always had access to the MLS. A lot of investors don't have access to the MLS. So they really need to lean on a realtor, even though it's not the realtor's responsibility. It's the investors. They're putting up the money, but it's nice for the realtor to have knowledge about the market, understand the type of people that are moving in there, what are the preferred things people look for in that area, whether it be an outside entrance because, they need to rent out the basement to offset their expenses, or whether it's larger families moving into the area, so they prefer 5 bedrooms over 4 bedrooms, whatever that might be. It's good to have that market knowledge. Mm-hmm. The third is guerrilla marketing tactics. So, and better than anybody else, you're a great marketer. Any realtor can put a house on the MLS and wait for the phone to ring.
For sure.
That's not the way it's done anymore. You know, you have people like Dan O'Neill who are putting together these crazy, funny videos that are getting hundreds of thousands of views and bringing in a lot of people to see a particular house because of the exposure. So an agent doesn't affect what a house is going to sell for, but what their job really is to get as many people to see the house as possible, because there's a direct correlation between the amount of people that see the house and ultimately what the house sells for.
100%.
You know, and the last thing is deal flow, like we just spoke to before. Like, investors really want to work with agents that are going to bring them deals, obviously. So, you know, how does an agent go out there and market for crappy houses in a way that isn't going to take away from their core business, which most of their business, like, you know, 90% of their business should be working with, you know, just traditional buyers and sellers. So what I suggest to realtors is, as you're doing your normal marketing, whether that be your, you know, your print stuff, your constant contact stuff, your social media stuff, your podcasting, whatever it is, stress that you work with cash buyers who will buy properties in any condition and they will close quickly. And then also educate yourself on things like short sales. I always tell people, I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, hey, listen, go out there and get your short sale certification from LIBOR. Not that they're going to teach you anything, but the average person is going to say, wow, this person's certified. They feel better. It gives you a leg up. And then when the short sales really start to pour in, like they will be very shortly, let's say the second half of this year, you will be the resident short sale expert. And, you know, short sale listings are pretty much taken most of the time at 6%. So it's a big revenue generator.
Yeah, 100%. And one thing that I want to circle back to that I really think is powerful is the instant offer game is huge now, right?
Yeah.
So if you could get someone like some type of instant offer, that's another good way of finding distressed properties as well. Because somebody who is interested in an instant offer, getting out of their current situation fast, is obviously going to want to speak to someone that can get them that cash offer as soon as possible and get them the whatever they feel is the most money human possible. Right. So having a book of investors gives you that opportunity and gives you that leg up compared to someone that only works with buyers and sellers. Right. You have have people ready in case that was a really great opportunity.
Yeah. You want to have, like I said, like a diverse book of business, because the market changes and you don't want to get stuck. Like, that's why I just don't do just flips. Like I started out doing flips in, like, you know, nicer middle-class areas. And then I started doing flips in areas that weren't that great. And then I started doing new construction and dormers and commercial and rentals. So now, regardless of the opportunity, I can make it work. So you have to do the same thing as a realtor. You have to have a few good, solid investors. You have to be working with buyers. You have to be working with sellers. You have to be bringing in distressed product also. You know, maybe you start to learn more about the commercial space so you can pick up those as well. You have to be able to do all kinds of business.
For sure, 100%. And one thing that I really wanted to ask you is, now that you know, interest rates and inflation is kind of getting a little crazy, has that been affecting a lot of investors in regards to like pricing for the materials?
Yeah, pricing to fix this stuff is absolutely bananas. Like, just to give you like an idea, the house that, let's say, 3 years ago would have cost me $115,000 to renovate cost me $165,000 to renovate today. So yeah, it's absolutely wild how much more expensive this stuff is. You know, luckily the value of homes has gone up to the point where, like, it's been okay, but obviously there's going to come a point in time where all that stuff comes, you know, to a halt. And if you're left holding the bag, you know, it's not going to be pleasant.
Yeah. In regards to that, do you see any shifts in your specific business in regards to, like, do you have a game plan when interest rates get, well, obviously you're using a lot of hard money, but let's say interest rates started going really, really high. Do you feel like obviously the buyer pool is going to shrink enough where it's kind of going to create that stagnation and then eventually some type of little bit of a dip? It could be a correction or whatever it may be. Do you have a specific game plan that you're kind of working in your business with that, or?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this year is going to be good. I think next year is going to be good. I think, you know, starting into the second half of we're 2022 is good. 2023 is good. Second half of like 2024 and then into 2025, like, I would start to get concerned then. You know, I think at that point we'll probably be due for a recession. I think rates will really start to rise. I think that, you know, that will start to, you know, grind things down and more inventory will start to be on the market. I mean, right now we're at all-time inventory lows. Rates are still very, very low, historically speaking. You know, people haven't gotten foreclosed on or evicted. Like, all this stuff is just starting to happen. But everything that went on and all the free money and all the, 2 years of no evictions and foreclosures, like all that stuff is going to come to a head in the future at some point.
It has to. It has to. There's always a ripple that.
Without a doubt. And it'll be this decade, probably halfway through the decade or so, we'll get a good slap.
Yeah, and that's another good point that you mentioned, that a lot of people are nervous, like, oh, we're back in the 4s, right? It's still historically low, guys. Like they were at 8+ before, so what I'm saying, we could easily go there again. So don't like get caught up on the 4%, because there was still a bunch of buyers on the market when we were in the 4s before, right?
Yeah.
So where do you see like the interest rates kind of going? I know obviously you're on the investment side, but do you see it like kind of going to 5 maybe this year, or 6 this year?
I mean, I think you see 8. I think you see 8s within 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah, I think you see 8s or better within 5 years. I think it's the only thing they're going to be able to do to be able to slow this down. It's just there's too much money around. Prices are moving very fast. It's not sustainable.
Yeah. So, I mean, you definitely, gave us a lot of enlightenment when it came to your social media strategy and marketing. I highly recommend that everybody go check out this man's social media. I love it. Like I said, there's a lot of great education there, but it's also really entertaining. So you don't get bored when you're scrolling through your feed. Also, go check out his YouTube. He got a 3D community coming soon. I'm super about that, because that's going to revolutionize how real estate is done, I think.
Absolutely, man. 100%. Yeah, we're 3D printing houses out of concrete. The name of the company is SQ4D. So we're going to start this first one in Islandia in about a week. Right now we're leveling the ground. The machine's coming over next week. It is going to be crazy. We're going to be live streaming every aspect of the build, like 3 days a week. So the public is going to get to see exactly how these things are built, understand the technology, how it comes together, and see why it's a superior product.
Oh man. And obviously with everything going up in pricing, building with concrete is going to be way more cost effective, right?
Yeah, it's a cheaper product. So basically on the portion that we print, which is the footings, foundation, interior and exterior walls, and now roofs, we're 40% cheaper than traditional construction. And we're also faster, which obviously there's a cost savings there as well. But on top of that, it's a much better product. It's fireproof, it's waterproof, it's insect proof. We give a 50-year warranty on the structure. It is a much, if you're a landlord, like we're dealing with a lot of big funds and REITs right now who want to utilize the technology to 3D print a rental housing, because the maintenance is far, far less.
100%. That's awesome. That's so cool. I can't wait to kind of check out that live stream as well. So thank you very much, man, for being on here and giving us all this education. Again, we featured him in Marketing Mondays. If you haven't already signed up, it's free $99, guys. Go check it out. And there's Amanda. She's back.
Oh,
I had to go assist my little friend here. I do have a question for you before we call this to an end. You have been doing Reels, which is super popular now and super beneficial to growing on social media. And we highly recommend that real estate agents and brokers, take part in this trend. But you have taken it to a whole new level, especially with your Valentine's Day one and the musical one. Can you give us a little insight into like how the ideas for those came about, how you calculated like whether or not it was risky for your brand, or like if you were just like all in?
So for me, I don't really care. I'm just having fun with this stuff. So I have a really amazing team back there, and they come up with great ideas. So the Valentine's Day thing, I can't take any credit for. I just walked in the back. They're like, we're shooting for Valentine's Day. I'm like, all right. I walk in the back. There's a blow up pool with garbage. And they're like, take your shirt off, get in this damn pool, and say this. And I'm like, all right. Because my thing is, you hire great people and you don't tell them how to do their job, and you don't want to try it, and you don't want to stunt people's creativity. So I'm super sensitive to that. So I'm like, listen, whatever the hell you guys want me to do, I'll do it. The musical, I heard a song and I was like, we need a Cat P musical. And then Greg, one of the editors, wrote the lyrics. I edited the lyrics. Then Emily called her buddy, who's a musician, who wrote the melody. Then we went to a recording studio and I sung the thing in a recording studio. Then we shot a full-blown music video in a house that was freezing with garbage everywhere. It's these things are real productions. They take a lot of time and a lot of work.
Yeah. I watched the Valentine's Day one with the trash, and I was like, I gotta watch that again. I can't believe this. And it was just so great. And it was so you at the same time, even though it was like this is a totally like new thing that you did in comparison to some of like your other content. But I love it, man. You are constantly pushing the envelope. Your team is super creative, and I'm sure it's paying off. People remember you.
No, people absolutely remember me. They, try to send me deals all the time. It's really, it's great. It definitely works. But, people have to understand, like, a personal brand, you can't quantify a personal brand, like to quantify the ROI of a personal brand in the same way. You just have to like believe in it and then just do it. But bottom line is whoever has the most attention is going to win. And that's what you need to have attention today. You have to be on the phone.
Yeah, and talking about attention, this is just off topic, but did you get any ladies' attention with that video?
Yes, I got a couple ladies. I got a couple guys' attention with that video too.
I bet.
It attracted a whole bunch of attention across the board. But the most importantly is I believe it or not, I got 3 deals out of that video. So
And 3 dates. No, I'm just joking.
No, 3 3 deals. So within like a couple days, I had 3 people hit me up. They're like, that Valentine's Day video is crazy, and I got a deal. Do you want it? Bang.
Boom.
So it was very cool. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
That
It works.
is so awesome.
It works.
Yeah,
So St. Patty's Day is tomorrow. So we're going to be dropping a St. Patty's Day video. I'm going to have a shirt on. I'm going to have a shirt on, but still, it's going to be good.
Oh, man, I can't wait. So there you guys have it. If you're going to go check out if you want to see a St. Patty's Day, go check out on Instagram or YouTube.
It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be on Instagram. It's going to be on TikTok. It'll be on YouTube. It's going to be on anywhere you want to view content and consume content. We're there.
All right, awesome, man. Well, thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule. I look at your whole team behind you. I hope everything goes well, and I'm looking forward to your live stream of those 3D printing, man. That's going to be so exciting.
Absolutely, man. Really appreciate you. Congrats on being a new father. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Thank you so much.